Go for
Right.
it, Karen.
On
Yep.
camera. Okay, fantastic. Well, Advance has been running an innovation program now for just over a decade. It's had varying names and we've had varying partners over the years. We've currently partnered with NAB, the National Australia Bank, and they have, they're our primary sponsor for this program. And and as to why I would be running the program is that I'm an old serial entrepreneur myself. I built my first company out of Brisbane and sold that, exited to a big media company in Southeast Asia. And then during all of that time in my next two companies, I moved to Silicon Valley, and I've been here for just almost a decade now. And so as an old serial entrepreneur myself, I know exactly what it is that these companies need and don't need. Often that's not aligned. What they think they need is generally not what they really need. And of course, we leverage both the Advanced network and my own personal network. You know, having lived here for a long time, built companies here, pitched in front of all of the major VCs in town, I know them all personally, you know. So we do that to pull together 2 weeks of the most incredible program you could possibly imagine. It's a mix of a big workshop slash roundtables and networking events. We begin with 3 days in LA. I like to think of it more of as boot camp rather than a workshop, because we're quite ruthless. Australian entrepreneurs have a fantastic reputation here in the US, particularly in Silicon Valley. We build great companies. We've got incredible work ethics. We have some great success stories. But by nature, Australians are very laid back. You know, we love to tell a good story. We're very humble. You know, we don't have that panache that Silicon Valley is used to. And that's reflected in both their pitches and in the decks that they put forward, their investment decks. So we spend the first 3 days just whipping everybody into line. We bring in consultants. Every year we have a gentleman that comes. He trains up the TED speakers. So how to articulate, enunciate, how to stand, and all those things make a difference in terms of being perceived as incredibly professional here in the US. So we start with that. We bring in a lot of successful and not so successful Australian entrepreneurs who tell their stories, the war stories, and what to do, what not to do, the mistakes they've made, things they wish they'd known. Very, very valuable. And that is also the beginning of an incredible network for the participant companies here on the ground, because even if the entrepreneur that's presenting is, you know, doing something in the cybersecurity space, then he's going to know somebody that's over there in big commerce because he's a mate of a mate of a mate. So we bring those guys in. There's about 80 over the course of 2 weeks. We have 80 presentations. We also bring in the big consultants, which, you know, if you're out there approaching them yourself, you've got to find $900 an hour just to have a conversation, which is a startup is not always an easy thing to do. And they'll talk through immigration and visas, which of course is, you know, a hot topic now in the US. Not as easy as it once was. That's always, you know, well attended. So to explain immigration, we bring in lawyers that talk about the structure and the advantages of setting up here versus Australia, or straddling both, and how you can leverage significant, export grants and whatnot in Australia, but yet have a finger in the pie here. We bring in things that Australians don't even think about. I mean, America is the most litigious society you could ever imagine. And we bring in a guy, he's actually an Aussie, and he gives a great big presentation on all the coverage that you need here in the United States just to do business and not to be sued to death. And that generally results in a room full of very pale people who've gone white in shock and horror at the level at which it has to be done and the cost of it. It's an often forgotten cost by Australians considering a move here to the US, but of course you can't do without it. So it's a great big mix. We have several networking events. We work in closely with the landing pad, the Consul General. The Consul General in LA has always been exceptionally gracious and hosts an event at her private residence, which obviously brings in the top tier people. And then, of course, we draw on the advanced network to bring everybody into these networking events. So it's an incredible program. I've never, ever had a single company go, oh, my God, that was a waste of money. Even if you get here and you realise the US is not a fit for me or my company or my product, I'm going home to Australia and I'm going to build a very good company in Australia, that's it. You have saved yourself probably 2 years and hundreds of thousands of dollars of making the mistake of coming to the US, setting up, trying to get it to work, and then realising, okay, it doesn't work, it's not what I want. So either way, whether you end up here or you don't end up here, it's an incredible investment.
It sounds like a really good program. That's why I put in a little paragraph that Tammy sent on our Slack channel. We have a Slack channel where about 1,000 of our most active founders and techies and all that there. And then someone made a comment, you have to pay $10,000 and I think, is there a turnover criteria as well, that the startup has to have a certain amount of turnover?
Yeah, well, the thing is, right, for everyone's benefit, if you're not ready, then because you're just going to fall flat on your face. And one of the reasons that year after year after year we are able to put these companies in front of the tier 1 VCs is that the caliber of the companies that we put forward are very, very good. So I can ring any VC and say, look, I've got all these companies coming on this date. Can we have an hour? Absolutely, Karen, come on down. So they've got to be ready. And it's not fair for us to just say, look, we'll take your $10,000 and good luck, right? So I find that, first of all, we're a non-profit and we honestly do not make any money out of this program. That is what it costs to produce a program of this caliber, and it is highly subsidised in the fact that the government pays us to run the program. But it's every company that's done it has always said, look, it is worth every single cent. And the thing is, if the company pushes back and says, $10,000, we haven't got $10,000, that's not fair, that's not fair, well, then it's self-selecting. You're not ready to come. A lot more than $10,000 to set up in the United States.
Yeah, so, that's what I told them. I said, look, I think it's, from memory, it's $100,000. You have to have $100,000 turnover. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And
that's fair enough. Yeah.
We're very liberal on that. That's in the selection criteria, but it's not. I always cite the example of, look at Facebook. They IPO'd and they still weren't making money. It is seen very differently here in America. If you're onboarding customers at 1,000 a week and you're still not making any money, well, that's why you need the funding. So that's okay.
Yeah.
So we look at a lot of things, and there's always an it factor in there too. Some founders, you just know that they've got what it takes, right? You can't, it's very hard to articulate what that is, but you just sense it and you know it. And their company's probably not quite spot on with ticked every box on the criteria, but they're ready to come. Then there's other companies. Sometimes, I've told outright companies and just said, look, I don't think you're a fit for the market. I'm not going to take your money, because I then don't want you running around bad-mouthing the program saying it was terrible because you didn't get something out of it.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, that's
so
it's very good.
Yeah, because this is all a business for us.
Yeah, it's from what I understood at the NAB partnership, you still go through the selection process and you select the people, and then you forward some names to NAB. Is that how it works? Yeah, good.
Yeah, and I was explaining that to one of the applicants this morning who was following up on his application and wanted to know what the process was. And I said, what we will do is all the companies that we deem to have met the selection criteria and it will be a great fit for the program, all the information will be compiled up in a long list and that will be presented to NAB, and then they will work through that and they will find companies that fit in with their ideology and their positioning, because they have their own venture group. So, you know, other companies that complement some that are already in their portfolio, what they're looking for, companies that they feel if they were to ultimately not just sponsor a place on the program, but were to invest in, then there would be some synergies in the fintech industry for them. So they've obviously got their own motivations as to what companies they select from that list. Fair enough, they're paying for those positions and the lucky companies that get that. So I said to him, everybody that meets the criteria, if they're haven't been offered a place by NAB, they will still be offered but a non-sponsored place on the program. So we'd love to have them along anyway. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. I think that's in a nutshell what we are going to, because then you have a closing date of 28th of February. Is that right?
Yes, we do. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that, Karen. I'll stop the recording there. Stay online. We'll have a chat. But thanks for that.